Hello my loves, and welcome back to the Mind, Body, Soul Challenge, the 111-day quest experiment. This is day 5. Hi, if you're new to this space, hi, I'm Kylie Null, the founder of New Age Rebellion. I am also a success, listen to me like stuttering over that word. Success and realignment spiritual mentor. I'm also a trauma-informed energy healer, rebellious old soul of the internet, and I've made it my mission in this lifetime to help women heal from their past traumas and connect back to their divine sovereign power from within so that they can fully claim and step into being the conscious creators of their own reality. And this beautiful 111-day quest is a personal journey that I'm embarking on, and I'm using these YouTube episodes to share my golden nuggets, my insights, things that drop in as I go through this beautiful journey before I turn 30 next year of becoming the best possible version within myself, and to have and find a divine balance between the sacred masculine and feminine energy. And today I'm super, super excited. I need to stop saying that probably with every episode, because every episode I'm like, I'm super, super excited. It's true, and I say this within every episode, so that's hilarious. But I really just have such a deep, heartfelt calling to share this message. I saw my energy healer shaman this morning, and we had such a divine cacao session, drank the most beautiful cup of cacao, and just had such a raw, honest talk. It was almost like an deep integration of sorts. And even just in having that session with her, such a beautiful nugget dropped in that I want to share with you here today, and really give you a sense of the word relief is coming to me for the hardness that we often put on ourselves and the pressure that we put on ourselves, that things have to be perfect and have to show up in a certain manner in order to be valid. And it is truly just I just want to fix this music here because this is not right. There we go. This is truly just the deep recognition and acknowledgement that healing is not linear. I mean, no journey in life is really linear, but specifically healing is not a linear journey. This morning's session within my own healing space, I worked through and spoke through trauma that happened nearly a year ago. And even traumas have manifested this year, or triggers from traumas have manifested this year that happened 6-7 years ago. But I specifically just want to highlight on this. The time doesn't really make a difference, but it's the metaphor that's going to bring in, and the example that's really just going to bring a lot through for you. This morning was so interesting for me because in yesterday's episode, I shared how I just had anxiety come up and all these emotions. And it was truly from reflecting on a friendship that I had last year with a woman who I was really close with. We were at a stage like sisters. It literally felt like we finally had found each other, and it was like, this is going to be my lifelong friendship that I'm just always gonna have, because I've always had a very tumultuous relationship with women. I've had deep sisterhood wounds that I've had to clean and clear, and I finally felt like, wow, I finally landed a friendship where I can see myself being friends with this person until we're really old and wrinkly, and we're just sitting in our garden and we're reflecting on the big life we've had and the memories we've shared together, and how we've grown our families alongside each other and all these things. And it was so interesting to reflect back on this relationship, because it ended in a very traumatic way. It ended in a very deep, sad way, where I realized how much narcissism had lived in the friendship. And through that narcissism, how much pain I had endured, how much of myself I'd given away, and my own boundaries I had crossed, and all these things. And yesterday I sat with this deep sadness. It started off with sadness. I was on my way to the hairdresser, and I felt this deep sadness within my heart, reflecting back to my wedding ceremony last year with my husband. And I was like, I really miss that friendship. I really miss that version that we had, that moment. It's almost like a time capsule of what that friendship was like. And that sadness suddenly turned into rage. Such deep rage of like, how dare she? How dare she? There were so many things that happened, and I was like, how could they do this to me? Like it just feels like she didn't like pay for what she did. Like, how dare she? And there was just so much rage. And obviously coming from this place of like just heightened self-awareness, I was like, okay, clearly this rage is like showing me something. This rage is like telling me that something is here. And simultaneously I felt this collective confusion, because I'm like, I've been doing so much work around this. Like I went into a little bit of an isolation mode after the friendship ended for about 6 months, where I did not really interact with a lot of like female friendships. I was very reserved. My husband and I were in like this intermittent phase of like moving homes and like buying our first home. So we went to go live with my mother-in-law in a beautiful like little town. So I was very much so, I ejected myself and went into complete isolation mode. And there was this collective confusion, because I'm like, why is this still coming up? Why is an experience that happened a year ago that I feel like I'm over on a conscious level, but it's still triggering me? Like if I see photos of her, I still get rageful. Like, what is happening? And this morning when I sat with my energy healer, there was just this beautiful like realization of like, healing is not linear. And you will hear me say this in many spaces. You will always receive what you're ready to hold space for. And it's important, if we look at like keeping that in mind, you'll always receive what you're ready to hold space for. It's important to look at when we go through traumatic events in our lives. And I wanted to really highlight this example of this friendship to you, because it's beautiful for me to speak with examples and illustrations of things that happen in my own life, to really tangibilize and drop in what I'm saying and like really give you that like 3D concrete example. And it was quite interesting for me to see how when we go through trauma, we go through that cycle of grief. And that cycle of grief is where you feel sadness, and then you feel anger, and then you feel resentment, and then you feel doubt, and then you feel guilt, and then you're trying to bargain things, and finally you find a sense of closure and release within you. And it's interesting to see as you go through these like cycles of grief and these stages, how with every stage that you're in, when something just happens to you, there's that sudden anger after it just happened. There's that sudden like emotional burst that just happens afterwards. Within that time, you're probably so volatilely filled with all these emotions that are so reactive, actually, within a sense. They're very much so just your ego emotions that are bursting out to try and protect you. In that moment, you may not be able to hold space for the deeper nuggets that need to drop in. You may not be able to hold space for the deeper wisdom that's meant to drop in, the deeper lessons that the universe is trying to show you and teach you within this event that happened in your life. Remembering that you are literally a match for every experience you call in. Now, to say that we're a match for every experience that we call in, does that mean we self-inflict our own trauma? No. Because people around us still have their own divine free choice. The universe doesn't inflict trauma on us. But we're a match for how we treat those experiences, what type of experiences we call in. And then again, like it's on the other side, like those people also have free choice and free sovereign will to take the actions as they do and inflict them as they do. And we then either have that ability to cope with the situation, to reinforce the boundaries to stop it, or we allow it to happen because of our own narratives and stories that we deeply have ingrained within us. And so this morning when I was going through this like healing session, I came to this strong realization of, wow, like I've done a lot of healing to actually overcome the friendship dynamic, to overcome the loss of a friendship. Like I've been able to grieve that loss and also in a way find closure within that narcissistic relationship, because it very much ended up in narcissistic abuse, which was so interesting because I've experienced narcissism within my romantic relationships in the past, but never within a female friendship. And so to experience it on such a deep level and to heal from that narcissism, I was like, why am I still sitting with this rage? And I'm very gentle in nature. I I have such a soft heart, and for me to sit with this rage and feel like I could literally punch someone in the face, I was like, this is not me. This is not my energy. Like, where is this coming from? And so as we sat and we was talking through this session, I had this like huge realization just drop in for me, because she looked at me, my energy healer, and she said, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to say something. And I know that you're not going to like this, but I know that you're ready to hear it. And I was like, go ahead, I'm ready. And she was like, remember, you're a match for every experience you pull in. You were a match for this to happen. You allowed this experience to happen. So what is it telling you? What is actually coming up for you here? And in that moment, I looked at her and I burst into tears, and I was like, I am actually rageful towards myself. That rage that I felt was actually an internal, deeper rage within myself for feeling so angry that I had allowed myself to not stand in my ground, to be taken advantage of, to not stand my boundaries, to have done the things, to have not been in integrity with who I am. Like, I was like, because the woman that I was in that relationship or that friendship is not the woman that I am today at all. But it's because very much so throughout all of my 20s, it was such a deep phase of self-discovery that I deeply was still trying to fit on all the shoes of who am I? Until finally landing into who I am right now. It is the 6th of October, 2023. And I'm like, I now as Kylie now know who I am as a woman. I deeply know my truth. I know who I am. You could put me in a tank full of other fish, and I would know exactly where I am, what stream I'm swimming towards, and like where my waters lie. Where previously I did not know that. And so it was interesting to have this realization drop in that, holy shit, the rage that I was feeling towards this event in my life was actually rage towards myself. Where I had to take a moment to forgive myself for allowing these experiences in. Where I had to take a moment and forgive myself for allowing the things to happen as they did. And to also forgive that version of me. To be like, you did the best given the resources you had at the time. Now, this is such an interesting example to give you, because I now sit here and I feel such intense peace. The anxiety I felt yesterday has alleviated. I feel so much peace around the situation. I feel like I found my closure. I'm definitely going to do a little bit more of a release ceremony for myself, and just very much so directed at that version of me during that time of my life. But it was such a beautiful example for me to realize that healing is not a linear process. As you grow and develop, as you build more emotional intelligence, as you're able to hold space for more energy, as you're able to become more of the tower in the tarot card, where you are calm within and things can move through and around you, the more you start to know yourself as a woman. I feel like that's what healing very much is. It's a self-discovery journey. The more you get to know yourself and the more you step into that like sovereign power, the more you will find these glimpses. It's like these nuggets that the universe sends you as little like keys to unlock for the next level that you need to step into. It's important to realize that you may have things come up from previous traumas, from previous experiences, years that have passed. But it's important to realize that it does not mean that you're regressing. It does not mean that what you did was all for nothing. It does not mean that, you know, everything is falling apart again. Whatever the narrative is that you may have. So often when we go through these healing journeys, we feel that, oh, when I visited this thing, when it's come up, when I've, you know, gone through that grief, if I've worked through it, it needs to fade, it needs to end. When that's not really how it works. As you heal, as you grow, as you develop, you're going to find that things of past experiences that you have will revisit you. You may even feel a flashback come in, where you feel the emotions as intensely as you did when the event happened. where the memories start flooding, the thoughts start racing. And you may even feel old patterns come up, like old thoughts, old habits, old emotions start to resurface. And when they resurface, it is not, remember, we don't want to shove the bouncy ball deeper into the water. It's not to say that you're regressing. It's not to say that it was all for nothing. But it's actually such a divine, beautiful lesson to see that you've evolved so much to a point that you're now able to hold space for this traumatic event to be dissolved even more from a different angle and perspective. And so it was so beautiful just to see how healing is not a linear journey. This is the beautiful thing of being human, is experiences impact us deeply. And this can go both for a positive impact and a negative impact. Our life experiences, our things that we go through, impact us incredibly deeply and on multiple layers, because you are a multifaceted human being. They impact you on the physical level, manifesting in your body. They impact you on the mental level, creating thoughts within your mind that may have never been there, creating new neural pathways, creating and storing things in your subconscious mind that informs how you show up in the world. It impacts you at an emotional level, which then manifests into your energy and how your body feels and operates and how you would feel and operate, which then in turn impacts how you receive not only experiences, but your desires, and also how you actually show up and execute into the world. And it impacts you on a spiritual, soulful level, because it's, again, we are spiritual beings having a human 3D experience. So the moment we can actually begin to fathom and understand that the traumatic experiences that we go through very much are here to help us upgrade. They're very much here to help us step into a deeper power, step into a deeper knowing of ourselves. But that as we go through the healing layer, it is very much like peeling back the layers. But these layers that you peel back are going to come in multifaceted ways. Then they're going to come at different stages of your life. They may be years apart, they may be days, they may be months apart. But these realizations will drop in. And then it's really the question you have to ask yourself of, am I prepared to hold space for these realizations? And what does that look like? And am I prepared to have the grace and kindness for myself to keep walking this journey? To know that there's going to be days where you're going to feel a little bit under and down and not 100%. You're going to feel triggered. There's going to be days where old memories and emotions and things come up. And then there's going to be days where you're like, oh, I can't believe that bothered me. But the process is not linear. And so I feel like this is such a beautiful divine lesson just for you watching this. Like, keep going, my love, keep going. This is not a sprint to the end. Healing is not a sprint. Instead, it is a divine process of self-discovery. I can now fully and honestly say, I do not think I will ever stop working with some form of a healer or a facilitator, whether it's an emotional release mentor, whether it's a deeper mindset mentor, or like an energy shamanic healer as I am right now. I will always have someone like this in my corner that I am working with, because what a blessing to be alive in this day and age, to so openly have these resources available to discover the depths of your soul, to dig into understanding, why am I the way I am and why are these things coming up for me? But also, as you do the digging, you're able to upgrade yourself. Like the words upgrade your avatar came to me now. You're able to upgrade your avatar so you can become the most potent version of yourself. The version that is full of infinite potential, can have anything she desires. But in order to do that, we need to realize that we continuously can still move forward without things having to be a linear experience. Hold space for the duality and be able to hold space for it all. My loves, I cannot wait to drop in tomorrow. I promise tomorrow I will try to not say, I'm so excited for this episode. We're going to shoo it up a little bit. But may this be a divine little nugget for you to not stop, to not give up, to keep going, to have compassion and kindness for yourself when things resurface. Because this healing journey is not linear, but it is so fucking worth it. I'm sending you so much love. Thank you for tuning in to day 5. I cannot wait to tune in tomorrow. And with that, I will see you soon. Bye for now.